substantiate the payment of more than 2.5 million Ghana cedis. Specifically, the Auditor General cited the Mental Health Authority for not substantiating two payment vouchers totaling 56,400 cedis. The Auditor General stated, and here's a quote, "Our review of records disclosed that payment vouchers were not supported with the relevant documents to authenticate the payments." He added, "Considering the lapse of time in accounting for the expenditure, we are of the view that the expenditures were not incurred in the interest of the state. We therefore disallow the payments and urge the Ministry of Health to ensure recovery of the amount, failure of which you would be surcharged." The Auditor General also charged the Mental Health Authority in a subsequent audit report for 2020. In this instance, the amount in question was that of a donor, World Health Organization. The Auditor General wrote that our examination of the payment voucher showed that in February 2019, program funds amounting to 366,726 paid to 7 partners on behalf of World Bank to support World Health Organization to support quality rights implementation had only 229,399 accounted for, leaving a difference of 137,327. We recommended that the CEO should ensure that all implementing partners immediately refund the monies, failing which the amount should be recovered from the CEO, the Auditor General stated. The World Health Organization could blacklist the Mental Health Authority for not accounting for its funds. Now, on September 16, 2021, the Internal Audit Agency added to the list of infractions that the Mental Health Authority has committed when it shamed it among hundreds public institutions which have flouted provisions of the Internal Audit Agency Act and the Public Financial Management Act. According to the Internal Audit Agency, the Mental Health Authority has failed to submit 3 consecutive quarterly internal audit reports for the last quarter of 2020 and the first 2 quarters of 2021. In addition, the authority failed to submit its annual audit work plan to the Internal Audit Agency, even though the law requires it to do so within 30 years of the beginning of the financial year. Section 91(4) of the Mental Health Act 2012 states that the financial year of the authority shall be the same as the financial year of the government, which is January to December every year. The Internal Audit Agency has emphasized on several occasions that the submission of various reports and plans to the agency provides an assurance that existing control systems are working in the form and manner required. Corruption Watch has learned that the Mental Health Authority has a history of financial irregularities as captured in some of its previous internal audit reports submitted to the Internal Audit Agency. Reacting, the Chief Executive of the Mental Health Authority, Professor Akwesi Osei, told Corruption Watch that he was not aware of the publication sponsored by the Internal Audit Agency, which shamed the authority for non-submission of reports. He also said the Auditor General got it wrong in the 2020 report when he recommended that the Chief Executive should refund monies that partners had not accounted for. We have Professor Akwesi Osei's full response in the following interview, which was recorded last night. Let's listen to Professor Akwesi Osei and Corruption Watch journalist Frederick Esiama.
I've asked my finance director, actually my acting director of finance, to submit to me what really happened that the 2 PVs were not supported. So I'm here to get his response. So as of now, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I need to get the response from the finance department. Then I'll be able to put it all together and respond as to what really happened.
Sir, are you saying that since 2020, when this particular report of the Auditor General on the 2019 financial year was published, you've not received these details from your finance director?
Well, normally when they publish, we get a copy, but I don't think I've seen this copy. So again, I'll take it up and call for the reports, auditors' reports that came, and look at what really happened and what has been our action. But normally we have an audit committee that looks at this. But I am privy to the responses that they get, that they produce. But I'm not sure that I've seen this very well. That's why I said I'll call for my finance director to submit to me the reports that came and then the audit committee's responses to this and their reaction to that. The audit committee, what it does is that the audit issues that come, especially the queries, the audit management letters and the audits that come, they look at that and see what has been done and what can be done as a follow-up, and after that they produce a report.
Yes, so they produce a report that is called the Annual Report on the Status of Implementation of Recommendations, which you are, as head of entity, you are supposed to see and sign before it is forwarded to the Internal Audit Agency.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last one they produced for you, sir?
I think because the audit, to start with, ours was only formed, I think, at the beginning, last year. It was formed towards the end of last year. Earlier, we didn't have the committee. And then, the beginning of this year, that was when the new, the boards of institutions were dissolved. Boards of institutions were dissolved. And 2 members of the board are supposed to be members of, or at least 1 or 2 members are supposed to be members of the audit committee and other members of other boards. So with the dissolution of the board, it means our board could not function. So I don't think they were able to produce any report for last year, but they met once or twice. I think they met twice or 3 times. Yeah.
Okay. So that is possibly the reason why you cannot really tell what has happened with the 56,400 cedis.
But even so, that one, at least internally, my Department of Finance should be able to let me know what happened. But as of now, I don't have the response to that. But what I'm saying is that I will really not need to wait for the audit committee to come with a response to that. That one, I can find out what has really happened, and I'm going to do that. But now, I don't have the response to that.
So do you have an internal auditor?
Yes, we have an internal auditor.
So your internal auditor reports to the head of finance, I suppose?
Yeah, he does report to the head of finance, but he also reports to me. So whatever the copy of his reports, that will go to the internal audit. Yeah, a copy also comes to me. That's why I'm a little baffled on this aspect. But I'll get all the issues tomorrow from them.
I understand per their functions, they are supposed to produce quarterly reports. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
When was the last quarterly report that they produced for your attention?
The last quarterly report must have been, we are in the 3rd quarter, right?
Yes.
I think the last quarterly report we produced must have been last quarter of this year.
And you have signed those ones?
Yes, we are looking at that. We are starting to see what exactly the issues are and what needs to be resolved.
Okay.
Ideally, when you have an audit committee, they will also look at that and make their recommendations. But again, you don't need to wait for the audit committee before what we can implement or what you can tackle or what you can handle, that can be done. So we are looking at that. You don't need to wait for the audit committee before we do that anyway.
So as we speak, is your board fully functional?
It's not yet formed. You know, the board was dissolved. Ours was not yet formed. I was in touch with the ministry this morning as to what is happening, and they say they are still waiting for one institution to submit its nomination before we can get a complete set. So it's not yet formed. You don't have it.
So unless it is formed, you cannot also reactivate your audit committee.
We cannot reactivate. But the point I'm making is that there are some sense issues that we can still look at and look at remedial issues. For instance, if a PV has not been, was not signed, was not supported, I will not need to wait for an audit committee before I can ask what happened and get the appropriate action to be taken.
For the 2020 Auditor General's report on MDAs, again, the Mental Health Authority is charged by the Auditor General. And this time, it is in respect of 137,327 cedis, which is funds that the Mental Health Authority paid to partners on behalf of WHO to support quality rights implementation. The Auditor General says that you should ensure, as CEO of Mental Health Authority, you should ensure that all implementing partners immediately refund the money, failing which the amount should be recovered from you. What is the status of this recommendation made by the Auditor General?
Well, I'm not sure the recommendation should be refunded. I mean, 2 things. One, WHO gave the money for us to give to the partners to implement this program. So what I think we should find out is, have they given the receipt to show that, well, to start with, have they given a receipt to us to show that we actually give the money out to them? That is one aspect. And two, if they got the money, did they use it for the purpose it was intended to be used? I think that's the first, those are the first two questions, and not to say they should refund. If they use it for the purpose it was intended, why refund? And they should give us evidence that it was used.
Okay, so at the time the Auditor General's team came to audit you, did you provide them proof that the partners had utilized the money for what it was intended, and they had the receipts and everything?
We provided them with the evidence that the money was given to them, and they gave us a receipt to the part that was given to them. Ideally, we don't pretend over them. So actually, the auditors should have been there and he actually examines them. For instance, Ghana Health Service, the auditor also audits them. So it's for the auditor to be able to find out whether the money was used for the purpose it was intended. We don't pretend over them. Ours is to make sure that there is a receipt to the effect that the money was given. Notwithstanding following that report, we have got them all to submit their receipts. But I'm saying that even the receipts, not receipt of payment, as for receipt of payment is submitted, but receipts of utilization, they subsequently produce that.
So you are saying that you are challenging that recommendation that the Auditor General made, that the recommendation shouldn't have been a refund of the monies.
Precisely, it shouldn't have been a refund, but it should have been a recommendation to get evidence that it was utilized, because it was given for a purpose. So why do we say refund? Refund, then what about what it was supposed to be done? But if there is evidence that it was not used, then you may want to say refund. Can you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm saying that notwithstanding, the partners have been contacted and they produced evidence of utilization anyway.
When did they produce this evidence, sir?
I think when the report was produced, then my auditors, my internal auditors, my director of finance went after them and they brought it. I don't know exactly when, but it's after now it's been brought.
So have you drawn the Auditor General's attention?
My people say they brought from their attention, yes, they have.
Who are these 7 partners?
Well, includes Ghana Health Service, and I don't have the names here. Ghana Health Service is one of them. But let me address the earlier question, just a short while ago, that I am challenging the auditor's report. No, I'm not challenging it. But I'm just saying that a different person should have been asked. But I'm not challenging it. Yes, there was an issue there, but I'm saying that but there are 2 things there. One, a different person should have been asked, and that question was that ensure that they submit evidence of utilization and not of refund. That is one thing. And secondly, even the ensuring the utilization really should not have been my assignment. The auditor general who goes there to audit them should have found out from them that yes, you received this money, and the evidence you received it, produce evidence of how you use it. Because I don't really, that should not be my duty to go after them to look into their book of how they use the money. I'm supposed to get a global picture of yes, WHO says I should give you this money, and have you given me a receipt? So I also give a receipt for WHO to know that yes, I've given the money to them. That's where I go. But how they use it, they will need to produce evidence. So auditor will need to go there and find out, because auditor goes there anyway. So that's the point I'm saying.
Are you saying that all the 7 partners were public institutions? Because if they were not public institutions, then the Auditor General couldn't have gone there to ask all of them.
Okay, so let's start from the one that at least the public institution. You agree with me that one, the auditors should have gone there, not to me. At least the public institution.
How many of them were public institutions?
Well, I think Charge is one of them, and the Ghana Health Service. But the point I'm making, do you agree with that point? That for those public institutions, I don't audit them. For the private institutions, I agree. The NGOs, they were NGOs. That one, I agree with you that since Auditor General does not go there, I will need to produce it. I agree. But the public institutions, that should not be mine.
Before we go, I understand that you have launched a policy on mental health.
Well, disseminated, not launched. We have launched earlier. That was about in April. So today, the launching was to declare that we have this policy. So that was done in April. Now today, those who have a role to play in the implementation, we brought them together. Some of them, the rest will be tomorrow. We brought them together for us to look into the policy, what it says, and what their own rules are. So that was a dissemination meeting.
What are the key aspects of this, and how does it address the funding issues that Mental Health Authority has?
Well, some of the key issues are the fact that, well, the bottom line, the main objective is to ensure that mental health care delivery is raised to a high standard, is of quality, is assessed nationwide everywhere, is affordable, is free of human rights abuses, is of quality care. And also funding issues are resolved, logistics, human resources, and medications are provided for. That is the thrust of the policy. Now, with respect to financing in particular, the way it's being addressed is twofold. The mental health law talks about establishment of a mental health levy. Mental health levy. In fact, it establishes a mental health fund, and the fund is largely to be fed by a levy. The levy has not been established. Therefore, we are still seriously deficient with respect to funding. Another way that we are looking at is to get the partners, stakeholders to come together for us to see what goals, what contributions we can make. And one of them is to see how we can get mental health care to be covered by national health insurance. National health insurance does not cover mental health care, and it was for a good reason it was better, I must say. The reason was that at the time the insurance scheme, national health insurance scheme came, the system of funding, the funding mechanism or financing mechanism for healthcare was cash and carry. You may remember out-of-pocket payments. And we successfully argued that on the average, persons with mental illness are among the poorest in the society. So their financial capacity to pay was low. So the government was to exempt us from the cash and carry, and the government agreed. This was in the 80s. So the government agreed. And so while people were paying out of pocket, cash and carry, we were not, our services were not based on cash and carry. It was based on virtually free services. And free to the patient, but not free to everybody. The government was to provide the money for us to be able to take care of them. And the government was doing, so that was fine. So when the insurance scheme came, then they were also looking at ways of not overburdening the scheme. So areas that were already covered by some other mechanisms, other approaches, they say you will continue to remain covered by them. The programs like diabetes, like TB, you are already covered by some other programs. And similarly, mental health, you are covered by the government. So you are not to be part of the insurance scheme. And it made sense to us, and we didn't bother because we were having the funding to provide a free care. Then it became, with time, it became such that we were not getting the funding or adequate funding from the government. So we were at a disadvantage because government was not bringing the funding. Meanwhile, insurance was also not covering it. So we were at a double disadvantage. That's why we began to renegotiate to get us back under or to get us to be covered by the national health insurance, which we are doing. But at the same time, too, the ultimate penalty, I keep saying, is for the levy to be established. So we are pushing for the two at the same time. These are some of the areas of the emphasis of the policy.
How do you envisage that the issues being raised by the Auditor General and the internal audit agencies in respect of accountability would impact this drive to raise more funding?
Well, I don't think these are really breaches outside. The administrative breach here and there, but they are really not issues of somebody having misappropriated. So I don't think it's really significantly built up. But as I said, I'm sure by the close of tomorrow, all these issues will have been resolved. So I don't think it will impair our ability to raise funding to cover mental health care.
And now hide the storm. Monkey the work, but with the job. Okay, and mean who the job. And yet who the job. And now hide the storm. I think you know Africa before. And yet we get more. Kuku timber, good and more. Yet we don't know we get all.
And you heard there the reaction of the Chief Executive of the Mental Health Authority, Professor Akwesi Osei, to the issues raised in the Corruption Watch report. Professor Akwesi Osei spoke with Corruption Watch Tuesday night. We shall now get on the anti-corruption school segment for an interrogation of the issues. So let's welcome the Executive Secretary of Mind Freedom Ghana, Mr. Dan Taylor. to the program. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, sir. Mr. Dan Taylor, good morning. Okay, I'm afraid we do not have Mr. Dan Taylor joining us now, but we're going to raise him in a little bit so that we can look at some of the issues out of this report this morning. Mr. Dan Taylor, if you're there, good morning. Okay.
To the right, to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the left. Kuti, 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 kuti. Laja, 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 laja. Kobo, Nara, City, Sefa. Laja, 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 laja. We don't consider metrics every day. We don't consider.
Yeah, we'll soon be connecting to Mr. Dan Taylor. But in the meantime, this is troubling. It's very difficult to raise money for mental health in Ghana, so we need to be able to take care of the little we have. Mr. Dan Taylor joins us now.
Yeah, Mr. Dan Taylor, good morning.
Good morning, and how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. First of all, I want you to, give us an assessment of the state of mental health care in Ghana currently.
Well, the state of mental health care in Ghana is not too good to talk about. Of course, with issues of funding and then, attitudinal issues. For all you know, we have the 3 mental hospitals, psychiatric hospitals based in the southern part of the country. So for people with mental health conditions, they would have to come down all the way to the south. These are quite troubling. But of course, we know that the government has indicated in Agenda 111 that some 2 more psychiatric hospitals will be built in the middle and the northern part of Ghana. So then I've listened to the interview. The issue of funding is really a challenge as to what really government needs to commit to actually enable people to have the right care and access to mental health care. Thank you.
And what do you say about the sources of finance for the mental health fund, especially as the Mental Health Authority is now considering the inclusion of NHIS?
Well, the issue of NHIS is something that we as NGOs in mental health have actually made some advocacy towards. By policy, mental health care in Ghana is free. But then when you go out there into the hospitals, they are really not free. People would have to pay. And of course, MHS sometimes subsidizes the cost of medications. So once there's a move to actually include mental health care in NHIS, we are all for it. And also the issue of the mental health fund, which is also captured in the Mental Health Act. The fund has been established, but then the sources of funding to feed the fund is still an issue. It's still angling. So that's something that we really also address our attention to.
At the core of today's report really is the issue of accountability. So what effect does it have on access to funding?
Well, that is another matter for another day, because I'm not privy to the issue of this audit report that Professor Akwesio spoke about. But my organization is part of the partners who are implementing the Quality Rights Project in Ghana. And we have done the needful in terms of using the money for the purposes it was given to us. And we are still working on the project. As to when and how we are giving funds, we do account to MHA.
Now, you talked about issues with funding for mental health. I mean, you've talked about how, yes, we have the law. What are those issues that you have identified?
Come again, Kuju, I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, so you talked about issues with the funding for mental health, and I am asking, what are those issues?
Well, the issues have to be, the scarcity of funding from government sources. Like you rightly said, like Professor Akwesio said, the funding is not adequate. And of course, the issue too has to do with this policy that because mental health care is free, not much money is pumped into that area for people to access care. In fact, we've come across situations in our work where people, have had to come to us for us to be able to support them to buy their medications. And these medications are so important in the treatment of persons with mental health conditions. Once they don't get the medications, they can relapse.
Now, in dealing with persons in authority, what do they tell you are the reasons why it's difficult to release funds or provide funds to the Mental Health Authority?
Well, what happened in previous time is that mental health care was not an issue to, most bodies. Let me say for the ministry for that matter. It was just, put on the periphery. It was not really considered as an issue. It is now that, let's say statutory bodies are beginning to appreciate the need to invest in mental health care. So that is something that we really need to address as a nation, especially with the mental health fund. The idea behind it is that once the money is, we have money into the mental health fund, that would be the source of funding for mental health care in our country. And of course, that would fund the free, mental health care. But it's not there. And so that is the problem.
Now, talking about it not being there also, I mean, some have been released, but when you hear these issues of accountability and the Auditor General is raising red flags, doesn't these issues even affect the image of the Mental Health Authority and by extension create doubts in the minds of those who may willingly want to provide funds for the authority?
Well, I think I've already intimated that I'm not privy to this Auditor General's report. I'm not privy to be able to speak to the issues. But then what Professor said in his interview should really clarify some of the issues in terms of what had gone on and what had not gone on and all of that. So at the end of the day, I can speak from my perspective as an NGO that whatever funding we were giving the ongoing quality rights projects has been duly accounted for to the to MHA, just like our other NGOs like Mental Health Society of Ghana, Basic Needs, and then the other NGOs. We have done the needful in terms of accounting for whatever monies we're giving. Now, like you rightly said, once this picture is put in the funding issue is put in a bad light in terms of, more practice and all of that, it will really affect it. So we must act gingerly in this matter so that we don't compound issues. That will put issues of mental health funding in a bad light. I think we just need to act gingerly.
When you say act gingerly, what are you talking about?
What I'm saying is that let's address the issues in terms of what really had gone on. Is that a situation and all of that? That is what I'm saying. We should act gingerly.
Okay, and so you agree that if we do not act gingerly, this could affect the image of the authority?
Of course it would. It can.
Well, I mean, anybody who doesn't carry out their duties in any institution affects the image of the institution. But I'm wondering, for those of you who have been involved in funding mental health, in Ghana, to bridge a gap, what would you say to the state in terms of the future of mental health, considering how many of us are affected by it? What would be your message to the state in terms of supporting mental health, the funding of mental health here in Ghana?
Yeah, we as an organization, we don't fund mental health per se, but then we organize activities that actually promote mental health issues and all that. So we receive funding from our donors abroad and locally to be able to organize these activities. For instance, with the ongoing quality rights project, which is being funded by the WHO, we are giving funding to organize activities in line with the project objectives. And like I've said, and would want to say again, we have been able to account to MHA for all the monies we have been giving and are still beginning to implement the project.
All right. Well, I want to say a big thank you to you for joining us today on Corruption Watch. If you just tuned in, you were listening to Mr. Dan Taylor of Mind Freedom Ghana. So that's Corruption Watch for today. Now, I want to remind you that you have the power, okay? All of us in our own small way can help in the fight against corruption. So please, you can reach us on our hotline for Corruption Watch, 055 22 000 33. You can send a WhatsApp to the same number. Don't forget, Corruption Watch was brought to you in partnership with Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Ghana Integrity Initiative, GII, Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, GACC, Africa Center for International Law and Accountability, ACILA, and multimedia platforms Joy FM and Adom FM. The main sponsor, of course, is Danida.
Kobo, Nara, City, Sefa.
what you do. If you have the choice to do anything in life, build your dream house, take very good care of your family, and plan for a comfortable retirement. Plan a befitting funeral for your loved ones when they depart. How would you live if you knew there was a friend waiting to support you on all of your life's choices?
You have such a friend in Glyco Life Insurance. Glyco Life has all the plans to meet your life's needs. Your child's education, your life savings, your mortgage, funerals, redundancy, and your retirement, and takes the burden off your shoulders. So go ahead and live life to the fullest today with Glyco Life Insurance plans. And remember that all our policies are hedged against inflation. Talk to Glyco Life on 0302 218 500 or 246 142. Also visit our website at www.glycolife.com or any of our branches nationwide for more information.
Glycolife, we cushion you for life.
Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Putting up or replacing a roof is not just laying the panels, it's a complete engineered system. And at Roofings and Steel Ghana Limited, we understand how the whole system works and are resolved to give you the very best quality in roofing and steel products. Manufactured locally in Ghana, we offer a range of steel and galvanized pipes, mild steel plates, and all ranges of roofing sheets, IBR and IDT, corrugated and galvanized. Our locally manufactured products are tropicalized to withstand local conditions. Distributors, wholesalers, contractors, builders, welders, and fabricators. It's time to get the best quality roofing and steel products made in Ghana. Visit our office at Chopoli on the Tema Aflawo Road. Call us on 0559 722 035 or 0552 571 173 or 0242 539 411. Roofings and Steel Ghana Limited, your strength in steel.
Wow, wow, wow. Hope you have heard, rent to own now in Ghana. The Flan City Extension Project Rent to Own Land and House Ownership Scheme by the Ningo Prampram District Assembly and its partners, supported by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the UN Habitat, are right here in Ghana. So be smart, because where you trade and live really matters. Apply now and own a home or a fully serviced land. Wait a minute, don't forget to join our affiliate housing cooperatives also. Special offers last up to October 31st, 2021. Call us on 055 55 30 300 or 0577 911101 and 055 70 54 635. Website newaccra.city. Plant City Extension Project, shaping Ghana's urban future.
Little drops of water. Come in. Samsung Blue Tax Sales is back again. Wait. Right now, we go to save more money. You say what? You listen to this on my phone.
Oh, yes. Enjoy up to 30% discount on Samsung Blue Tax Sales. So get updated with your family. We have a wide range of Samsung products. Samsung UHD Flat TV, 50 inches, start at 3,999 Ghana cities. What a discount.
Our soundbar and tower, 2,799.
For your food and drinks,
top mount fridge, starting at 2,199.
Grab your TWC fridge, plus a free shopping voucher. Samsung washing machines, 999 Ghana cities. What more can we say? Great discount.
Samsung Original.
Valid from 6th September to 16th October 2021. Samsung Blue Tax Sales. Get yours now.
DSTV ɛwɔ unbeatable footballer a free soccer leagues akɛseɛ no nyinaa. For 52 Ghana cedis per share. Enjoy live matches week bia. The free the best leagues are a wiase. Men's like you, we're talking the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the Champions League, Afrensu Europa League in Swabek Kanhu. If you say nothing beats the unbeatable football on DSTV. Terms and conditions apply. For 0302 740 540 for enquiries. DSTV. It's your moment.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.